You probably trust your intellect. It helps you reason, choose, and make sense of life. Yet, have you ever noticed how even the sharpest intellect cannot touch the stillness of being itself? The Vijñānamaya Kośa, the intellect sheath, gives you knowledge, decisions, and the sense of individuality. It tells you, I know, and builds your identity around that thought. But that I is not the real self. Today, we'll explore how the intellect sheath creates the illusion of control and how true clarity dawns only when you rest beyond knowing. Like, subscribe, ring the bell, and share your insights in the comments. Welcome. This is Richard Clarke. Today, we look at verse 14 of the Tattva Bodha, where Shankara tells us of the sheath of the intellect. The intellect sheath, Vijñānamaya Kośa, formed of intellect and sense organs, it is responsible for knowledge, decision, and ego sense. This verse describes the Vijñānamaya Kośa, the sheath of intellect. It includes both the buddhi, the faculty of discrimination and decision, and the five sense organs which provide data for judgment. The intellect sheath gives structure to experience. It sorts impressions into categories, right and wrong, good and bad, true and false. It also generates the sense of individuality, the ahamkara, or ego sense that says, I am the one who knows, decides, and acts. In worldly life, this sheath is valuable. It allows reasoning, moral discernment, and purposeful action. Yet, Shankara warns that identification with the intellect keeps you bound to individuality. The intellect sheath claims authorship and ownership. I understand this. I succeeded. I failed. The self, however, is beyond intellect. The intellect can only reflect its light, just as the moon reflects sunlight. The intellect appears conscious because of proximity to pure awareness, but it has no light of its own. When you identify with it, you remain in the domain of the knower and the known, still within duality. When the intellect quiets and its need to define or decide falls away, what remains is the silent awareness in which intellect operates. That still, unjudging presence is the self. For you, this verse speaks directly to the subtle trap of spiritual pride. You may study, analyze, and grasp ideas about truth, but as long as you think, I understand, you remain within the intellect sheath. Knowledge, in the usual sense, is of the mind. True knowledge is being itself. The Vijñānamaya Kośa sustains the feeling of I am the doer and I am the knower. This sense of individuality is the seed of all separation. To transcend it, you must observe even the intellect from the stance of awareness. Notice how the I thought rises whenever understanding appears. It claims ownership of insight. When you sit in the quiet awareness, that I becomes transparent. Decisions still happen, but there is no doer. Knowledge functions, but there is no separate person that knows. The self shines through effortlessly. Knowing the truth of this verse helps you shift from identifying as the intellect to resting as the awareness that illumines it. You begin to see that intellect, like mind and body, is only an instrument. The self is the light that makes its functioning possible. Here's a self-inquiry. When I say I understand, who is this I that claims ownership? Be still for a moment. Feel the subtle urge to understand, to judge, to decide. Watch it arise within you. See how this sense of I quietly attaches itself to these thoughts. Let that identification soften. What remains is a silent awareness, radiant and self-sufficient. If this reflection helped you see through the intellect's claim to ownership, like this video, subscribe, and share your insights in the comments. Your engagement deepens this inquiry for everyone walking the same path. Stay sincere, stay steady, and keep turning inward. Namaste.